what's up guys, Jason here, and thanks for stopping by. So as you can see, we are on the road. Today I wanted to go ahead and get out while I had a good clear day to do a shakedown test of the JK. Now unfortunately today is a little bit dreary, a little bit gloomy. There's a little bit of rain, so we're not going to go too far, but I do have a local state recreation area that we're going to go check out. Now where we're going is the Interlake State Properties. It's a state recreation area in southern Indiana. It's about 3,500 acres total. It's got 17 lakes. It's got a little bit over 75 miles of mixed trails. You'll run into horses out here. You'll run into ATVs, four-wheelers, Jeeps like we're in, all kinds of stuff. So I think it's going to be a good little shakedown run. If you guys have a vehicle yourself that you plan on going and overlanding in, a small shakedown run like this I feel is pretty important. I've heard it from a lot of different sites that I like to watch that it's pretty important. So we're going to go out here and we're going to get to know our vehicle. We're going to kind of just tool around on the trails a little bit for it. I want to start getting a little bit more experience with taking trail footage, trying to film myself while I'm out on the trails and doing stuff like that. So make sure you stick around and we're going to go ahead and get into it.
Alright, what a pain that was.
So if you ever need to and you're out here at Interlake, this is a real awesome place to grab gas. The Casey's General Store over there also has good food. So, and it's not too far away from here. So it's a pretty good little stop. So we just left the small little pavilion area and now we are heading up to the trailheads. For it being a little bit rainy and a little bit dreary, it's still beautiful out here. There's still a lot of greens. The leaves are slowly beginning to change. As you can see over here on the right, we got some leaves that are starting to turn a beautiful gold color. I'm really looking forward to coming back out here and watching the leaves change this year. They change so fast it's hard to catch them. I know a lot of people like to go to the Great Smoky Mountains and stuff like that and watch the leaves change there, but it's a little bit out of our range right now. It's just a long drive, which I'm not necessarily opposed to. There's just a lot of stuff going on, so hopefully we'll get to catch the leaves changing here and see some really pretty stuff this year. So this is the #1 trail. It's the easiest trail. They do have several different difficulties of trail out here. And if you stop at the gate, you can get a map so you can make sure you don't get on a trail that you can't handle. But this one's only rated a 1. I haven't even used 4-wheel drive yet. Very mild trail, but the Jeep is doing great. Really making kind of easy work out of this compared to my old XJ before it was lifted up. So stock for stock, this vehicle's doing awesome. Got a little bit of a divot here. Don't know how deep we are. Not very. So it looks like we're gonna put it in 4-wheel high. Super easy. Very capable trucks, these JKs. So far, this Jeep is pulling like a champ. Doing great. When you're driving alone out here, it feels like the world just belongs to you and your vehicle. It can bring a lot of peace to your mind to be out here. I wouldn't necessarily say that I crave solitude, but sometimes the city can be a bit much. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say the city overwhelms me, but sometimes it's good to just go ahead and deprive those senses. To deprive yourself, you know, from all that stuff and get to a point where you feel better. I feel like a lot of people go their whole lives never getting to see the beauty of our world. This world is a beautiful, wonderful place. A little bit of a climb here. Might end up having to use 4-wheel drive, might not. Try to do it with just throttle control. And we're stopped, so we'll throw it in 4 high. There we go, up and over. I can't stress enough how important it is to have throttle control when you're 4-wheel driving. A lot of people will sit there and talk about how much they break stuff, or how this axle snapped on them or that axle snapped on them. And a lot of people are just incredibly aggressive drivers. Now, I'm not saying there aren't points where you have to be aggressive, but aggressive is a driving style, I find. Some people are far more aggressive than others, and some people just kind of try to outsmart the obstacle, which is a little bit more the style that I use. But hey, to each their own. Some people like fixing stuff when it breaks. I love how small Jeeps are, and the fact that they are able to fit on a lot of these smaller trails. It's going to be one of the things that I'm going to try to not get away from doing all this, is getting out here and getting my vehicle too bloated and too big to not be able to hit some pretty decent trails with. One of the big advantages of a Jeep is it's such a small vehicle, and it's got a good turning radius, so you can get to a lot of places with these. It's pretty awesome. So I'm gonna do my best not to get too bloated, and if I do feel like I'm gonna end up getting bloated, I'll hopefully get a trailer or build a trailer and kind of leave it somewhere if I need to. Look at this, guys. We're coming up on one of the lakes here. It's absolutely gorgeous. We'll see if I can find a small spot to pull off here. Yep, there's a small picnic table over here. Absolutely wonderful. Super beautiful. So we're gonna pull off here for a minute and just go ahead and take a look-see. So this is the Scenic overlook off Trail 1 here at Interlake State Recreation Area. It's so beautiful and peaceful here. I mean, they've got a nice picnic table here. And it's a wonderful place to just sit down and relax for a minute and enjoy it in between trail rides. So I got this map here and I'm trying to see exactly where I am. There are some more difficult trails here and I just don't want to tackle too much alone. It's always good to have a second rig with you. But right now I'm kind of running solo out here. So I'm just going to go ahead and be conservative. But this Interlake property, it's got so much to offer everybody. If you're one of the people like me that get a little bit stir crazy being in the city for too long, this is a cool place to come, especially if you're in the Evansville area. If you're not in the Evansville area, it's still a cool place to come. 15 bucks for a vehicle per day to use the trails, or you can pay 75 bucks and get a trail pass for the year. And that's good here and at Redbird, which is another state recreation area north of here. So you can kind of get both. But Interlake itself is a beautiful little place. There's a whole lot to see. There's some hill challenges here. There's a big overlook hill that shows you almost all of the entire park. All 3,550 acres. Right now, like I said, I'm just kind of coming out here to shake down the vehicle. This is the first JK I've ever owned. I did skip straight over TJs. I went from a XJ to a YJ to a JK. I don't really know if there's a lot that I'm missing by jumping over the TJ. It seems like the JK does almost everything as good as the TJ or better. A lot of people like the 4-liter straight 6 engines that departed in the TJ, but that's about the only thing I can think of. Man, it's beautiful here. But so far this JK has been doing great. I'm extremely happy with my purchase. It's got good ground clearance. I haven't heard much in the way of you know, rocks knocking the undercarriage or anything like that. Everything feels nice and tight. Nothing's bottoming out or, you know, creaking, groaning, snapping, or spitting at me. Engine temperature's been doing awesome. The tires that are on it have been doing great, even though they're slightly worn. Might invest in a new pair of these exact same tires just because they are so good, but then again I might not, so we will see. Let's look at our map and see where we're at here. We're at a split right after the hill. We're not going that way. We're going to go back around to the left. That was definitely deeper than I thought it was going to be. Makes me not so sure how deep this one is. Boy, does it smell terrible though. Well, I don't know how deep this is, and that's a bad thing, guys. So let's walk it. Just take a look. So guys, the question is not, is it too deep? Because it's definitely not, but around the corner there's just a whole lot more boggy, deep, soupy mud. I think we're gonna go ahead and try to turn around and skip this because we don't have anybody with us to help us out if we get stuck. We're just gonna try to turn around if we can. Go back the way we came, hopefully. So it's been a pretty good shakedown so far. I think we're gonna go ahead and call it a day. I've been out here for a few hours now. I'm gonna go ahead and get stuff settled and get back to the parking area and go get the Jeep cleaned up. But we will sign off when we get to the top. So guys, this is why we come here. This place is beautiful. They've actually done quite a bit of work since the last time I was here. I like to bring the dogs out here a lot in the summertime to go swimming. It's a nice little park. You can hear the dirt bikes buzzing off in the background. But when it's just right out here, it just gets super quiet and super peaceful. And you can hear the water and you can hear the leaves rustle. And it just makes you feel good again. Makes you feel clean. Makes you feel like you're home, or me anyway. It's one of the reasons that I want to get out and start driving the Jeep around more and get more invested in this thing called overlanding, is to connect with beautiful places like this. I don't think that you necessarily have to do it the way a lot of people do, and that's spending thousands of dollars on equipment. I think you just need a capable vehicle, a way to produce food for yourself, clean water, and nature. So that's what we're going to concentrate on. Just being out here and enjoying it. Well guys, that's pretty much going to wrap up our time today at Interlake State Park, State Recreation Area. It was a good workout for the Jeep. I got to see the capabilities of it on actual terrain versus the street and versus what anybody else says it can and can't do. It did great. Ground clearance on this thing with 32 stock is pretty good. Overall, you know, hill cresting, four-wheel drive, everything works great on this Jeep. I'm pretty comfortable in it. So I think we're going to be able to do some decent stuff with it just stock. There will be mods to this Jeep, but not crazy mods. We're going to keep this in pretty tame. But I would like to throw some 33s on there just to bump it up a little bit. Maybe a 2.5 inch lift. Just mild stuff. I don't want this thing to get too crazy, because overall we're going to be taking this to a lot of places while the diesel YJ is getting done. And I do have videos coming up for that. We've started to do some of the work. However, I did run into a couple parts that I forgot to order. I'll be the first one to say it. So I got to get a couple more parts. It's small parts. It's the stock Mercedes-Benz flywheel bolts. I didn't even think about it. When I bought the engine from the recycler, it did not have the flex plate or the bolts with it. So I've got to get those to make everything work. So I will get the Mercedes-Benz bolts in for the flywheel, or correction, for the crankshaft. And we will go ahead and get back to work on that. I'm looking forward to doing a lot of work, but I'm also looking forward to taking some reprieve with this Jeep and just getting outside, doing some camping, some overlanding this fall. It's starting to cool off outside, which means I can get back out in the garage again and not die of a heat stroke. So that's always a plus. So hopefully we'll get back to the YJ here real soon. I'm trying to get a little bit more done in the way of packaging, so it's not such a boring video. I want to make sure that you guys have enough to watch to keep you entertained. So that's where that is. But so I just wanted to thank you guys one more time for all the support. You guys have been tremendous. It's been great listening to your comments and hearing you guys talk. I hope you enjoy what's going on now, and the fact that we are going to be getting some more videos out here on the trails done. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And guys, we'll see you next time.